is a 12-week planner? Why would you want to plan in 12 weeks? And how do you start planning? I'm glad you asked because I have the answers in this video. I designed this right here is my 12-week planner. I know it's very thick, but this is going to be my Bible for the next 12 weeks. And then I'm going to show you how you can produce your very own 12-week planner inside of this video, step by step. And then this is going to be a series. We're going to get into Canva. We're going to print the whole thing. It's going to be a great time. So tag along and we're going to be right here. All right, first, why do you want to plan your life in 12 weeks? You get a lot done faster if you give yourself a deadline. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to make sure I go to the gym 3 times a week for the next 12 weeks, because at the end of 12 weeks, I want to make sure that I am whatever fill in the blank your goal is going to be for that. That is why you will get a lot done a lot faster if you give yourself a shorter time frame versus a longer time frame. This whole concept, this whole mindset shift is based on the 12-week year book. If you haven't heard of it, it's an amazing book. It changed my life and it changed the way I think of things. You should definitely read it. And it'll be linked in the description box below, as well as all the things that I'm showing in this video. So first things first, thinking differently. So a lot of the things that I do in my 12-week planning, instead of using digital things, I decided to go with a paper planner. And as you can see, this is pretty thick. It's a pretty thick planner to carry around, but I use this only for my personal life. I don't use this at work for my employer. I only use it to organize my personal life. In case you don't know, I am a full-time social worker. I also have 2 children. I own a candle business. So I'm trying to do a lot of different things to move my life along. So the very first thing I did to get started, this just didn't birth itself overnight. So I started by writing down my mission and vision for my life. First of all, I had to be really honest with myself and get a really good, clear picture of where I saw my life going, why it was heading that way, and how I was going to get that way, how I was going to get there. I also wanted to make sure that was my vision, my mission, and I typed it all up right here, as you can see. So I have my mission and my vision here of where I wanted my life to be in 5 years from now. And I also wrote down different parts of my lifestyle that I wanted to embrace that weren't necessarily emphasized as well as I wanted them to be, but I wanted to get to a certain point. I didn't want to just accept where I was and say,
well, that's just how it is. Life is really hard for everybody, so why try? I may as well just, after work every day, just binge watch Netflix movies and doom scroll for the end of time.
I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? I know life is hard, but I'm not gonna let it get to a point where that's all I'm doing. So that's what the mindset shift was that I took. First of all, I read the 12-week year book too. That was another mindset shift. I love self-improvement books, and that is a great one. So I have my notes here. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. So what I decided to do was I wrote down my mission and vision, where I wanted my life to ultimately go. So when you're writing your mission and vision, think of where you ultimately want your life to be. It might only be a year, it might be 5 years, 10, 15, 20. What's your ultimate ending goal you want? What do you want your life to ultimately feel like at the end? Go for a feeling here. The time frame necessarily may take longer than what you think and may be shorter than what you think, but think about what you ultimately want out of your life, because this is your life and you only get to live it once, okay? This is the story through your lens. The next thing I did, I wrote down my life categories next. So I wrote down all the life categories, and I wrote down the parts underneath each category that I wanted to make sure I was managing. For example, I have meals down as a category I wanted to manage in my life. And the reason why I chose meals, and the reason why I even chose all these categories, were because these were pain points in my life that I wanted to manage because they were so out of control. And this is something that I've been working on for years, was getting this whole system. Everything in my life has a system and a routine that makes it operate well so that I'm able to do what I can do and manage everything. So I started by writing down my first example. Right here is meals. I wrote down that I wanted to manage my meal planning and my meal preparation. I wanted to manage my gardening. I wanted to manage pantry preparation, grocery shopping, and recipes. So in one section, as you can see in this planner, I have a section that's called meals. It's right there. And that section manages all of those things. I had to figure out what was actually getting in the way in these areas that I needed to focus on. I have business, I have personal, I have family, home, work, money. These are the categories I wanted to focus on. Notice I don't have a category called schedule or a category called home, or no, I do. That's a lie. Or a category called cleaning. Like there's subcategories, there's parts underneath each category. So you're gonna make sure when you write down your life pain points, the categories that are your pain point that you wanna focus on for your planner, you have the categories broadly listed, and then you write the parts underneath each one inside. I hope that makes a lot of sense. I'll screenshot and show you guys, or I'll probably just do some B-roll, and I'll show you guys all the different sections I'm talking about so that makes more sense for you. That was step number 2. Step 1, you're gonna write down your mission and your vision for your life, right? And then once you get that figured out and you know exactly where you're gonna go, you have a clear path of where you want to end up, then step 2, you're going to write down all of your life categories. And then you're gonna write down the parts inside of those life categories. Once you get that figured out, then you're gonna go on to step 3. So step 3 is where we get into the meat and potatoes of actual 12-week planning. So everything else was kind of broad of where you wanted it to be. And then we're gonna focus on those 12 weeks. So within those 12 weeks, you're going to choose from this list that you typed up for your parts, you're going to choose 3 life categories over the course of the 12 weeks that you wanna focus on. Only 3, up to 3, no more than 3. You could choose 1, you could choose 2. You could choose 3, but you can't choose more than 3 because you can't focus on more than one thing at a time. I learned this myself when I tried to focus on multiple areas of my life. I just couldn't do all of it at once, just 3 categories at a time. And you hone in really well on those. The other parts of your life aren't getting ignored. They're just on like hover mode in the background of your computer while the other tabs are taking the lead, if that makes sense. So you're not ignoring things in your home. You're not ignoring your family and your friends. You have them, but you're going to make sure that you're prioritizing those 3 categories the most. Hope I still got you. Step number 4, you're going to figure out the action steps that you want to focus on in those categories. So you have your categories. Let's just focus on what I have, right? So I have my categories, and then for my action planners, which are these parts right here, these horizontal tabs, I have my planner preface, which gives me more information about each one of my goals and what my mission and action tasks need to be each week to be executed so that I can accomplish my goals within 12 weeks. And then I have my schedule planner. In my schedule planner, I have everything that I need to do in my personal life. I don't put work schedule in there, just my personal life. Anything I do for my employer is not included in this book. This is just for my personal life. So that's my schedule planner, organizing my life with my kids, my home, my boyfriend, everything we have to do with our pets, everything like that, that's in the schedule planner. Bills, stuff like that, right? I also have a budget planner for the bills. And then I have my to-do planner. And my to-do planner, I have it by the day, and I write down everything that I need to do for that day in my personal life only. This is managing your personal life. You want to be the CEO of your personal life. If you were a business owner, you would do this for your business. If you're going to have your personal life, you want to move it in the direction where you want to ultimately go, this is what you need to do. So that's your to-do planner. Then you have your meal planner. In my meal planner, I manage all of my grocery shopping, my grocery list, my meal planning, everything around meals and our pantry preparation, all that goes in there. Then I have my business right in here. I have Cynthia Means Business in here. And inside of this, I write down all of my digital products that I'm going to be releasing, what I'm working on, ideas for social media, that all goes in there. I have my notes planner. I love to take notes because I like to learn. So if I'm reading a book, if I'm taking a course, if I'm doing a workshop, if I'm at a seminar, I go and write my notes inside of here, and I reference everything in my notes for the 12 weeks in that section. And then I have last, my budget planner. In my budget planner, I have my paycheck budget, I have my monthly budget, I have my expense tracker, I have everything I need. There's more things in there. It's everything I need to manage my budget for the next 12 weeks. So each of these sections has something to manage your life over the next 12 weeks. And it's really important to make sure they each have a specific role, or else you won't use it like you need to. And it's very important that you're using it so that you can move the needle in the right direction in your life. In step 5, you're gonna make everything in Canva. So what I did for all of these, I made everything in Canva. I either used a template or I made it myself. I designed a lot of these myself, I designed it myself in a way where I can make it have multiple uses for different sections of the planner. But then I just took the font and I added different words to it so that I can be like, this is the schedule planner, this is the to-do planner, whatever. Example, right? So that's what you're going to do. If you don't have Canva, you're going to need Canva to put all of this together. I'm going to show you in the next video everything I do to make that happen in Canva. So I'm going to share you my screen when we finally get to the point. That's really funny. I'm going to share my screen in the next video, and I'm going to show you everything in this series on how you can make your own 12-week planner for yourself. This cover I got was from Amazon. I will have the link and the affiliate links inside of my description box. The rings, you can get these on Amazon. The tabs, I got these on Amazon. The paper I got from Amazon also. It's a very thick, high quality, smooth paper. It prints so well. And I can give you the links for the pens that I use. Everything that you need, I will have links for in the description box if you're interested in making your own 12-week planner to manage your life like a CEO. So this is my 12-week planner. I have my gold, I use the Happy Planner rings right here. This is the cover. I got this on Amazon. And then I have all the sections of my planner right here. So I have, each one of these are individualized planners, all within one giant thing. I call this my planner Bible, basically. And then I have these vertical tabs that explain these sections that go also inside of the horizontal sections. So I'm gonna flip through this. Certain parts I will not show you because it's personal and this is my planner for my life, but there's other parts I'm going to show you that are blank that will be a good example for them. So in the planner preface right here, I made sure that I have my 12-week goals, and then we have my long-term vision for my life and my mission. And then I wrote down my weekly alignment goals, my philosophy. Then we have our schedule planner. In our schedule planner, I have the table of contents of everything, all the different planners. That's unnecessary, but I decided to add that. The next part, I have my weekly goals on the other page, but I have my kids' school schedule on the next page. I'm not going to show you that because I'm going to keep that information private, but it does have the information about all their school closings and when they're going to have a delay and when things are going to be changing, when there's events at their school, parent-teacher conferences, things like that. Then I have my routines in my life. So these are my life routines I want to do. I have my morning routine up here. I have my after-school routine for the kids. And I have the nighttime routine that we do. I even have a time frame. It doesn't always work for this time frame, but this is the ideal time I would like to do these particular things. And I have rotation for different things that are harder for me to remember. This took a long time to get. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was painful to figure out because I had to break down everything in my life and figure, okay, well, when am I gonna get everything done? What time am I gonna wake up? As you can see, I get up at like 5:30, but it takes me a long time sometimes to get up. Some mornings I'm more sleepy and I let things go. And you have to be forgiving with yourself. Give yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace because this part took me a long time to figure out. The kids have their role right here. This is my role and this is everyone's role. So it has to be realistic. It's something that you have to be able to commit to. Then we have right here, my Friday evening routines. And then we have financial routine. We have my business routines. We have the candle business routine. So I have the Cynthia Means Business routines. We have the candle business routines. My cleaning routine, as you can see, I have every room right here. The kitchen, living room, dining room, bathroom number 1, bathroom 2, and all the bedrooms. These are weekly things. And then I have the daily cleaning things that happen for each room also. The kids also have their own checklist of things that I want them to clean inside of their room. So then next I have my yearly planner. And this is all in the schedule planner right here. This is in the schedule planner we've been in. So we're giving ourselves lots of grace. So right over here, I have the planner routine that I made for myself to hold myself accountable of what I want to do. I have my self-care plan in my schedule of what I want to do. And I have this set up for 3 months. I have a monthly spread, which I'm going to not show you because there's private information up there, but I have a monthly spread of what I need to do. It's a monthly calendar, and then I have a weekly calendar. Here's a blank one that I can show you. This is the first divider, my vertical tab that goes up. It says this week's schedule. Okay, so here's February. So in February, this is what the monthly calendar would look like. So I have one for January, February, and March. And then I have the weekly calendar, it just continues, okay? Next is our to-do planner. I have also in my to-do planner, my deep cleaning checklist and when I plan on doing those things. It is not perfect, but progress is what really matters. So I want to do my deep cleaning second Saturday and Sunday of the month, and these are the rooms and what I want to do for those rooms. And these are the other rooms in the house. Also, different projects around the home that I wanted to get around to doing in each room. So this right here is a blank to-do planner. I didn't show you the ones that I already filled out, but these are how they look basically. So I wrote down things to do, and for Monday, I would just keep a running list of things I want to do. Things that are beyond my top 3. So I have my top 3 that I want to get done for the day that move the needle along in my life. And these are all the extra things, like if I have to call my son's school, if I have to make sure that I schedule a dentist appointment, or if I gotta get the oil change done, things like that you don't want to forget and you want to put it on a different day. Like say it's Monday, but on Thursday, I want to make sure I really get the oil change done and pack them snacks for that field trip that's coming up on Friday. That's stuff I want to write then so I can look at that, because you don't do just 3 things a day. You do lots of different things because we wear many hats. That's what we're trying to work on. And then next we have meals. I keep my grocery list in one section. So all my grocery lists are here. And then my meal plans would go in this section. These pop out really easily. I like these, by the way. So you could just pop them in and pop them out as the week goes by. So our next vertical tab is called This Week's Meals. And I just designed this one section. This is not something you would just find. This is something I designed in Canva. But I have all the days of the week, starting from Monday all the way until Sunday. And I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would just write them out. I sit down with my boyfriend, we plan out the meals for the whole week. We figure out if I'm gonna do leftovers what day, if we're doing leftovers for dinner what day, if breakfast is gonna be takeout one day because we have an appointment earlier, or whatever is working. We figure it all out based on our schedule first. That's why I had the schedule planner first. Create your schedule, and then you can create your meals around that. It makes it a lot easier, so then you know when you're gonna eat out and you can budget for that as well. And so that's all meal plans for 12 weeks. Then I have my business planner, which is right here, CMB, and I have products, I have monthly overviews. This is the business planner. So I have my product deadlines, upcoming products, product maintenance I need to do, and then my 3 priorities for the month. That's what I have right there. And then I created this section, which is my product launch planner. Whenever I'm launching a new digital product, I have all the information hashed out right here. And then I have my notes planner. And in my notes planner, I have different sections on things coming up that month that I want to take notes on. Like if I'm going to a workshop, seminar, webinars, anything that are coming up. And then I have what I'm learning this month. These are blank, but what I'm learning for February and March is right here. Books I'm currently reading, projects I'm going to keep up with, meetings. And then I just have all of my notes right here. And I have another tab called Today's Notes. So then I can write all of my notes right there. And this is just lined paper that I designed in Canva. And then lastly, we have the budget planner. This is for a new month, but you have and this notes pad, this vertical right here, that's for the notes tab, so I can keep track of which notes I'm in. I also have a monthly calendar spread in there, so I could keep track of what date and what notes I wrote things down for. Then we have our monthly budget. And our monthly budget, there's routines we want to do. I have savings trackers, as you can see. I haven't started working on this yet, but this is a blank one. And then I have a few of those. I have debt trackers in here. I have bill trackers, regular bill trackers. This was painful to create. You will not believe how long it took me, but this is my summary of the year. I've not filled it out yet. We are not done with January, but I have all of these things to keep track of how my monthly expenses have progressed throughout the year. Then we have our next vertical tab, which says monthly budget. And it would go through a monthly calendar of what bills I have. There is a monthly budget here of that. Also, I have a paycheck budget and I have expense. Here's my paycheck budget. Let me show you that. This is a blank one. As you can see how that works is weekly income, debt, fixed expenses, variable expenses, sinking funds, total debt, total spent, and then keep track of everything this way. And then expense tracker. And then the last thing, is it back here? Let's see. Yes, this is the last part of my budget, is the monthly budget review. So I just would color these in and I would see how much I spent in those categories and what went well, if I met my goals, what didn't work, what I'm grateful for, and how I can prepare for next month. So this is how I plan my life in 12-week seasons. I know it's a lot of information, but believe it or not, I created this all by myself, and I did it in Canva. All these extra materials I bought on Amazon to support the vision that I had for my life. And I plan on filling out my next month for February really soon, and I will film that so you guys can see that whole process of how I set up my next month. However, what I wanted you to know is that if you are not quite ready for something as big as that, and you're like, well, I don't even know where I'm at yet, how am I going to figure this out? I created the 12-week, my CEO 12-week vision map. And in this, you will get more clarity on your priorities, goals, and your direction. There's some information that guides you along on how you can get your CEO filter, your focus together, so that you can figure out what you need to do to get your life in order so that you can eventually get to the point where you're making a 12-week planner. If you have already gotten your vision together and you know exactly where you're going, then you're probably going to look for my 12-week CEO Reset Workbook. Inside of this, it gets you really specific on your goals. It lets you know exactly what you need to do. This is the paid version. This is only $21, but you can print this as many times as you want and use it as many times as you need to get your life where you want it to be, to get it organized, to be a calm, efficient, organized woman. And I will see you guys in the next video.